What is the strangest thing you've done to stop unwanted advances from the opposite sex? When I was 14 I used to browse the local BBS scene pretty heavily. I met this chick on a BBS and she seemed cool, although looking back now she was really mental. She was 17 and sounded hot on the phone. One day we decide to meet after school at a local bowling alley a few miles from my house. Now this bowling alley has a double door entry. They always kept the left door locked and everyone used the door on the right. So I'm waiting around for her to arrive when this kid comes in and says, "Hey, my friend needs some help," to one of the employees. I notice the employee go in the back. He comes out with some keys. He unlocks the second door. In walks the biggest woman I have ever seen in my life. She wouldn't fit through just a single door. They had to open both. I wasn't a small kid then, I was like 180 or so. But this girl, she had to be topping 500, maybe more. I keep thinking to myself, please not her, please not her. But I had already told her what I looked like and what I'd be wearing. She walked right up to me and said my name. In my panic, I regretfully responded yes. We spent the next 20 or so minutes talking a bit. Then she asks me to go outside with her. Next thing I know she's pulling me behind the bowling alley and trying to kiss and fondle me. She got one kiss on me before I pulled away. The best thing I can think of saying was, "I hear my mom calling me to come home." Keep in mind, my house is several miles away. I immediately do a 180 and bolt. I'm running top speed through the backyards of several homes, jumping fences, weaving around swing sets and backyard toys. I finally stop and hide behind a bush to rest when I see her friend driving around, her in the bed of the pickup truck, looking for me. I've never been so scared in my life. I just use my personality. Seems to work great. Just kept drinking until I wanted the advances. Whoa, never realized this before, but I think I've done this. I was at a party in college, had this girl flirting with me all night, trying to impress me, telling me she could get me a job. Earlier in the night I'd complained about finding a job in a college town was difficult because she was sleeping with the manager at one of the local stores. She kept going after I thought I'd made it very clear I wasn't interested, getting me drinks from the fridge, offering me and my friends a ride home and so on. At the end of the night all my friends loaded up into her car and I said I was going to walk. She started to try to talk me out of it and I said that it was a nice night and I needed a walk to sober up and started walking. She started walking after me. I walked faster. She walked faster, saying anything to get me in the car. I turned my fast walk into a dead sprint. I ran about a half a mile at full speed and hid behind some bushes until I saw the car finally drive by 5 minutes later. Yes, I literally ran while very intoxicated away from a girl and hid in the bushes. P.S. Running while really hammered is difficult. Kinda like time travel. Your brain seems to start skipping frames. One step and suddenly you're 10 feet further. Where I go to school, we call traveling when drunk, especially by foot, teleportation. You never remember how you got anywhere, and even the longest of walks feel like they take 10 seconds since you're so focused on just walking straight. I know there are 2,000 comments and the chances of someone reading mine are pretty slim, but for those of you who made it down this far, maybe you'll enjoy this. When I was 17 I went to a lot of metal and hardcore shows at local venues and larger scale shows. There was this girl from the town over who would always show up at whatever shows my friends and I were going to that weekend. She was 14 and we called her Baby Spinach. She had a boner for me, but the difference between 14 and 17 numerically isn't a big deal, but developmentally there are a few giant steps to take. So I wasn't too thrilled about it. At one show, in between sets, I was sitting on this couch with my friend Eric and we were talking and laughing when Baby Spinach came to hang too. She tried to sit between myself and Eric but there wasn't enough room. Eric and I had talked about this exact situation not moments before and we had a plan. Without using a name I said, "It's alright, you can just sit on my lap." She stood up and looked pretty stoked about the idea, until Eric popped up on my lap and we smiled at her and said, "Have a seat." We pretended to be gay for a bit until she left. The only problem with that plan was now all the girls at the show thought we were gay. Oh well. Got wasted at a party at my ex-girlfriend's place. Nothing happened that night. The next morning, I wake up to her making out with me. I'm basically laying there like a dead fish. trying to figure out how to get out of there when she starts unzipping my fly. At that moment, my mother calls me. If I recall, the conversation was as follows. "Hey, where are you? Haven't left my friend's house yet. What's up? Oh, I just brought Wendy's home because I thought you'd be here by now and would like some cheeseburgers. Okay, I'll be there in 10. Hey, I gotta go. My mom got cheeseburgers. Cheeseburgers? Cheeseburgers. See ya." It was many moons before we spoke again. Hero. I married her. That stopped all of her advances right quick. Ha 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 ha. Sad face. I don't need to do anything. I just talk to them as I normally would do and then go about my business. Then in about 6 months time I will be daydreaming and I'll suddenly go, "Holy frick, she was coming onto me there." Dude, I've had that happen years later. I was with a friend of mine who is completely awesome, but for some reason she just has a magnet for crazy people. This guy is chatting her up and will not take a hint, not even when I told him to leave or I'd have his butt thrown out of the event. Finally he's going on and my friend just starts picking her nose like crazy, all the while acting like it's totally normal. The guy looks completely stricken until she totally wipes her finger on his shirt, at which point he fled in abject mortification. I have awesome friends. There was once a girl in my freshman history of the French Revolution class and she would not stop bothering me. So one day I missed class. I think I had a meeting with my advisor or something. So anyway, next time in class she asked me why I was gone. I told her, oh, I had explosive diarrhea all day Monday, could get off the toilet all day. Needless to say, she never asked me anything ever again. No one ever questions explosive diarrhea. Disgusting, but effective. Girl is straddling me. Then it turns out I have to go to the bathroom. Girl, oh baby, me, you look like a kangaroo. The girl gave me a strange look and I got up and went to the bathroom. It was the weirdest moment of my life. Go on. I arranged to be born male. That almost completely stopped unwanted advances from the opposite gender. Blank. Deadpan expression until she feels awkward and leaves. Suwoo hot. This girl at a party was getting hit on by some random dude. She gave me this look that said save me, so I did. I whisk her away with some story about her friend wanting to see her immediately, and as we are walking away she whispers thanks into my ear and starts slobbering her tongue all over my face. We were on the dance floor, so I said let's finish this outside. She walks outside and I walk the other way. Why did you walk the other way, D? What is the strangest thing you've done to stop unwanted advances from the opposite gender? Her sister. Her dog works every time. I told him I have a really high libido that has tended to place a strain on past relationships. Then I asked if he had a big dong, to which he of course said he did. He took a few moments to thoroughly describe his measurements. With all sincerity, I explained why things could never work between us. I told him I had a painfully short glory hole canal and could only frick men who are 5 inches or less. While he stared speechless, I asked if he'd be willing to consider a dong shortening surgical procedure. The ultimate commitment of his love for me. Priceless. Oh my god, I think I am perfect for you. My measurements are just right. Devote my life to programming. I chose the World of Warcraft route and still ended up engaged. I think I should have tried your method. I threw up on a girl. I told a girl I had lost part of my dong and one of my testicles in a motorcycle accident. It's not always wise to make a girl you aren't interested in you feel sorry for you. It might make her want you more. Climbed a tree. That didn't work. Climbed a moving van. Also didn't work. Started hitting on every other girl I could in a French accent. Sort of worked. C'est la vie. Uninteresting girl. Blah 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 blah. Me. That's very similar to a combat rule in an obscure tabletop RPG I used to play. Detailed description. So who's your favorite? Kirk or Picard? If she came back with a valid answer, I can see you being all of a sudden very interested. I was riding home from work on the train and a group of about 17 girls dressed in ridiculously tight-fitting dresses with 2 morose-looking boyfriends tagging along boarded the train. They are disturbing afternoon commute home train etiquette by being overly loud and obnoxious while us wage slaves tarry home to drink ourselves into a shallow grave. To my dismay, one of the harpies takes a seat next to me and asks in a shrill, "What you playing?" Not bothering to look up, I mutter, "Break the blocks," hoping my tone of indifference will drive her off. She is unfazed however and asks, "Have you heard of Sam Adams? He is playing tonight at the House of Blues. He's awesome. You should definitely come." After a deep breath I respond in the most sincere tone I can muster, "Oh, I can't tonight. I am meeting a friend who just flew in from Oklahoma. I haven't seen him in 3 years." She responds with a high-pitched "Wow." Really? I lock eyes with her and say number and continue to play Break the Blocks. "From your first paragraph I automatically assumed you live in Britain. I should read less Irvine Welsh." Said I'm HIV plus. That was half just to see what kind of reaction it would get. South Beach, Miami. Friends from college. Crappy bar that seems to cater to the trashy bridge and tunnel crowd of Miami. Basically all residents. I'm drinking beers while 2 friends are somewhere else. 2 blonde bimbos who looked like they were just a tad overcooked. Again, most people in Miami start talking to me. I'm indifferent until they buy me a beer and I start being nice. Friends find me. Turns out they wanna leave but just saw that I was bought a drink and will thus need to stay at least 5 minutes to be civil. Friend decides that he can't wait. He freaking blindside kisses me on the lips and says, "Sorry girls, he's taken." I'm speechless and just quietly walk out of the club. Needless to say, said friend and I get constantly embarrassed by our friends when playing Never Have I Ever. Worst cock block ever. Not so strange, but I grew a beard. Women used to flirt with me a lot more when I was clean shaven. With a full beard, most don't even look at me, or don't look too closely. I'm usually too obtuse to even notice that there are any advances being made, unwanted or not. Women eventually just give up. Ripped my box of Reese's Puffs out of her hands and got my baked butt out of there. I was in grad school on the bus and the girl sitting next to me was older than me and kind of gross. She tried to kiss me and it was like seconds to impact and I was terrified. I had a runny nose that day and I just thought, blow, so I blew snot all over her. I remember being so proud of myself. Worked like a charm. That's brilliant. You deserve a crown. I hereby declare you the Snot King. I started being nice to her instead of acting indifferent towards her. It worked out great. Instant chick repellent. Met 2 Russian girls in the bar. Not very cute but drunk as a skunk. I was hanging out with my gay best friend and they were hitting on us very hard. I pretended to be gay to get them off our backs but they wouldn't take it. So I kissed my best friend. That worked. I start quoting Bible verses. Tell them I'll pray that Jesus will forgive them for their sins. Nothing will kill a boner faster than Jesus. You clearly don't live in the Bible Belt. That kind of crap around here will get nods of agreement. I put on my robe and wizard hat. I stomp the ground and snort to alert you that you are in my breeding territory. My friend, male, was about to be attacked on a train once by 3 men. He countered this by pretending to be gay and giving an unwanted advance. Somehow this was successful in getting them to frick off. I think that is the exact opposite of what OP is referring to. Wear cologne. Try to dress nicely. Buy them drinks. Wait, hold on. Stop unwanted advances? I'm afraid I don't understand the question. Number, you were right. Add being chivalrous, slightly insecure and harmless in speech. There was this 14 years old, when I was 20, that would always try to hit on me and no matter what she said I'd always respond with something like, "So how's junior high treating you? Man, I can barely even remember what it was like." Or, "You know, when I was 14 I was so immature, I couldn't even relate to people that could drive, let alone older than that, so yeah, how's it going?" I just say I love you, always have, in the most dramatic way I can muster. If I am primed, maybe I'll shed a few tears. If she relents, then mission accomplished. If she doesn't, I just scream at the top of my lungs until she's gotten the concept. I used to have to do this all the time. I'm gay, but back when I was still closeted, I used to get hit on by girls a decent bit. Since I didn't want anyone to know that I was gay, I'd roll with it as much as possible, but it led to a lot of really awkward situations for me. For example, I hated dances. Dances at my school were just everybody drunk and grinding, basically a recipe for a fantastic time. I even like to dance. The problem was grinding with girls. I imagine most guys are self-conscious about getting a hard-on while grinding with a cute girl. I was self-conscious about exactly the opposite. I had girls who physically reached into my pants on the dance floor and started fondling in an attempt to get me hard. Nothing worked. Instead, I would just turn bright red, mumble something incoherent, and run as fast as I could away. I felt bad telling a girl that I had to go to the bathroom and would be right back, or that I saw a friend I wanted to say hi to, only to quietly slip away. But I couldn't give them what they wanted. Usually I'd just try to escape. But on the occasions when I couldn't, I would try to avoid fricking by pretending to be too drunk, by saying I was on medication that made it almost impossible to get hard, or by telling them I was already seeing somebody. Probably my crowning moment, however, was informing a girl that I could not frick because I have a hard workout tomorrow, and fricking makes you worse at sports. I got a lot of incredulous stares. What's funny about this whole thing was that I somehow got a reputation for being awesome in the sack. This is probably because, on the rare occasions when I could not avoid fricking, I would have to do an insane amount of foreplay to get hard, and usually had a really difficult time getting excited enough to come. Often I'd start to go soft a bit, and would have to revert back to giving oral for a bit until I found a way to get hard again. It was pretty stressful, and not my favorite times. A girl at a party kept trying to put her butt in my face as I was trying to have a conversation with some friends. First, she thrust her business end at me fully clothed. I dodged it, and told her to knock it off. Then, she pulled up her skirt and tried to put her thong in my face. Again, dodged and told her to stop. The third time, she completely pulled her butt out at me, and as I saw her brownie, I reached out, desperately grasping for something with which to defend myself. I closed my eyes and hoped that my aim was true. And that's the story of how I got a girl to leave me alone by sticking a cookie in her butt at a party. Limp Bizkit would be proud. I nipped this problem in the bud early by making sure I was born ugly. I then consolidated my position by developing no personality or social skills in my formative years. I was pretty drunk at a party early into my college career. I had been dancing with a few people in my friend's 2-bedroom apartment when one of the girls, who I had absolutely no interest in whatsoever, grabs me by the hand and leads me into the vacant room of the apartment. Before I could piece together what was happening to me, she had me on the bed and was taking off my pants. Somehow she found an accomplice and, in my drunken stupor, I realized I was being taken advantage of by two not my type girls. One girl had her head in my lap and the other one was trying her best to kiss my cringing face when I made the slightest gagging sound. In the dark I could see both of their heads dart back and their eyes opened wide before they both jetted to different rooms. One to the living room, the other to the bathroom. At that moment I vomited all over myself and whoever's bed that was. Then I laughed. The girl that was in the bathroom eventually came out and poured me a bath and put my clothes in the washing machine. We never spoke of the incident again. While not your type, the bathroom pourer is an angel. I pooped my pants in some guy's car. Met a creep on Craigslist. He still wants you. Poopy in Seattle. I once had a book called True Man Doesn't Choke on a Pee, original title in Finnish so the translation doesn't work so well, and it was all about how to avoid being harassed by women. One of the best advices that I remember from that book was that if the situation gets so bad that you are in the movies together and the movie is some romantic girl flick where the woman dies at the end, you should stand up and shout, "Frick her before the body gets cold." I still feel bad about it to this day. Back like 15 years ago, in the first grade, this little girl who lived next to me and went to the same school had a crush on me. Her name was Lehua, or something, and of course she had cuties. Deep down, my first grade self was digging her pretty hard, but even as a first grader I was a man. I couldn't show my emotions. Well, one day on the playground, she was chasing me around and I told her to stop. She wouldn't stop chasing me, so I asked her if she wanted me to punch her. She said yes, so I did. God, I'm an butthole. Anyway, she moved away right after, so if you're out there, Lehua, not sure how you spell it, I'll let you punch me to make it even if you want. This is one of the most romantic things I've ever seen on Reddit. I live in Florida, home of retirees, and the gay bars typically have a good number of desperate old men who want to try their luck with the young'uns. When they ask me what my name is, I tell them I don't have one. That usually gets the point across. Anonymous freaking really is better. Small town college, girl in the dorm room next door. She told me she'd had a dream about going down on me all night, and that it was rare for her to do so in real life, but that she wanted to act out the dream. Oh, really, I said. Cause I'm into some weird crap, like clown crap, big shoes, horns, music, the whole bit. Honestly, if the makeup's not just right, I can't even get a boner. That killed it. I think she caught the hint. Not to be cruel, but ogre is a fair assessment. Would have been more discomfort than release. You forgot the part of the story where you give us a rational explanation for why you wouldn't let her blow you and or a description of what an ogre she was. Told them I was a virgin when I wasn't. I once did this at a party. I was half joking, but the chick who was a bit wasted took it as some sort of challenge to get in my pants. I was young and single, so I didn't mind. You have been visited by the healthy spirit of exercise. Boy, you will burn all calories today. If you comment blessed be the health hound, like and subscribe, you magnificent person.